Welcome to the HarvestPlus Podcast, where we explore the intersection of agriculture, nutrition, and health. I'm Faith Okioro, your host, and I'm excited to take you on a journey through innovative solutions that are making a difference in the fight against malnutrition and hidden hunger. Today, we are focused on a crucial issue, childhood malnutrition, and how school meal programs can make a difference. I'm thrilled to have Penina Muoki from HarvestPlus with us to share the insights and experiences. Thank you for joining us.
Welcome, Faith, and thank you for having me.
Thank you. So let's start with a big picture. The quality of school meals is important to governments, and I know that HarvestPlus is working in this area. Could you tell us a bit about the work that you're doing in Kenya?
Thank you, Faith, and for the interest to hear about the work that HarvestPlus is doing. For sure, HarvestPlus is collaborating with other stakeholders in the area of school feeding. And the objective is to improve the quality of meals that is going into our school meals. We focus on the integration of high iron beans in Kenya with the intention to ensure that we can make a contribution around iron deficiency, which is a public health problem in our case. And it is affecting teenagers especially who are in our schools, as well as younger children. And the numbers can go as high as 20%, also depending on the region. And in some areas, it can actually go past 30%, depending on the geography in this country. So we are excited as HarvestPlus that we have a high iron bean that can form part of the school meals, because we know our school meals are composed of the staples, that is especially maize and beans. And so when bean is nutritious, then it also serves that piece of micronutrient nutrition. In addition to that, we know very well in our schools that beans tend to be the major protein source. And so making it more nutritious actually just makes school meals a lot more nutritious. Thank you.
Thank you, Penina. And a big part of the successful meal program is sourcing quality ingredients, I believe. Can you talk about how you collaborate with local farmers, with suppliers, or community organizations to provide nutritious and locally sourced meals for the children?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Faith. The program that HarvestPlus is running is anchored around the homegrown school feeding program. A homegrown school feeding program intends that the meals or the ingredients, raw material that go into school meals is sourced locally. And for that to happen, we are working closely with departments of agriculture, Department of Nutrition, as well as the Department of Education, to ensure that we beef up the availability of the high iron bean in order for any sourcing pathway to be able to locate these beans and therefore move them through the school feeding program. I just want to share with you the 4 pathways that we in Kenya seem to be the way grain gets to schools. Number 1, the school can be able to plant its own food crops, and so we are ensuring that these crops can integrate high iron beans. Number 2, schools can be able to get grain from parents in order to offset school fees. And so we are ensuring parents are planting the high iron beans so that in case they want to offset school fees using beans, then it has to be the high iron beans. We also have the 4th pathway, which is whereby the school sources from the local market. And for that, then what is happening is that by saturating the locality around schools, then the high iron bean is finding its way to the market, and therefore the school can also source it from that area. And finally, the last one is whereby they send a tendering process. And through the tendering process, the school engages a supplier. And so we are looping in the supplier so they're able to know that within the localities where they source for their beans, there is also the high iron bean that they need to source. In addition to that, we are ensuring that the teachers are aware of the high iron beans, and so the tendering process is very intentional, that they want to have bean supplied to their school, and not just any bean, but it has to be high iron. So high iron bean is being integrated in the sourcing process of the schools to ensure that we're intentional, that nutritious meals are being served at our schools. Thank you.
That's wonderful, Penina.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
these pathways that you've shared with us are definitely very insightful. It's clear that these programs are very vital, but getting the word out there is a challenge. What
Sure.
initiatives have you launched to promote school meal programs in the community, and what impact have they had so far?
Thank you for that very important question, Faith. We realize that farmers are very, very diverse, and the sources of information tend to be diverse as well. And men and women also get the information in different ways. So if we've and most important, now we are also having the youthful farmers who also get the information in other ways. And so we've tried as much as possible to be diverse also in the way we communicate. For the community structures, the traditional way of extension, that still continues, and we work very closely with the governments, extension workers in agriculture, to be able to do training, and in addition to the training, to be able to be able to also integrate other avenues of communicating. One thing that I want to mention is that we are integrating men very intentionally by going to where we can find them. And one of the things that I just want to share with you, we are finding it being very, very insightful, is some of the counties are having what we call men tournaments, where we have football tournament, and thereafter, then we take the opportunity to talk to men about the high iron beans, and that we are finding to be a breakthrough in getting the men on board. But I want to say that for a very long time, beans has been looked at as a female crop. But one thing that we are also getting and seeing men getting involved in a big way is when this crop is becoming commercial, especially by this market of school feeding. And so when it becomes commercial, the men get excited and get involved. But alongside that success comes the women, and we are excited to see that synergy is coming up also. We also have pathways such as social media quite strong, and these are the pathways where we are loading even our extension messages in order for the youthful farmers, as well as the other farmers that have access to these technologies, to be able to access important extension messages. Further to that, the phone platforms have also become very, very important. The bulk messages of text messages. We're also loading a lot of reminder messages on the phone, and farmers are able to access those kinds of information. In addition to that, of course, the health structures tend to be very elaborate, where you have mother care groups, neighbor mothers, and all that. We're also riding on those community structures in order to reach that rural woman who may not move very far to look for information. In addition to all these community engagement, we ensure that we are making adoption of high iron beans as seamless as possible by integrating other value chain actors, such as the agro dealers. We bring them on board and ensure that they are aware of the high iron beans and that they're able to stock it. So any farmer who has been reached by information and is looking for the seed, they can actually find it next door within their agro dealers. In addition to that, we are looping in very closely the seed companies to ensure that they are putting their investment in the high iron bean in order for the seed to be available. But demand has to be matched with the supply of the input, and so we are looping them in as well. Aggregation, which is the market piece of it, is also a very important one in our demand creation activities. We are creating demand amongst as many off-takers as possible that are supplying to schools, in order for them to be aware that within our localities or within the counties where these activities are happening, there is a high iron bean, and they need to be intentional in terms of sourcing for it. So it is all inclusive because we realize that part of the intention of homegrown school feeding program, which is a national as well as international policy, was to create a livelihood for farmers. And that for us is important because once a livelihood has been created around farming communities, it goes beyond just a bean. We are able to create incomes at that level, and the income can go to improvement of nutrition in terms of the purchase pathway. Families can purchase what they do not have. In addition to that, families can be able to utilize any income coming from the high iron bean to also meet other family needs such as healthcare and all that, which overall helps us to keep the child in school. Thank you.
That's very, very elaborate, Penina. And you've talked a bit about engaging the different categories of stakeholders. And now I'd like to talk about engaging parents and teachers. We know that this category of stakeholders is very important and very critical.
Yes.
And they play a very critical role in the success of these programs. So could you tell us, how do you engage them in supporting school meals and ensuring that children receive the nutrition they require both in and out of school?
Excellent. We are very intentional about sustainability of the work that we are doing. And part of the way we are building sustainability and exit structures for these projects that we are undertaking is by ensuring that the schools take it up and institutionalize it at that level by having school gardens. So the school gardens are run by the agriculture teachers together with the clubs that exist at the various school levels. Like, for example, in primary school, closely work with the clubs called 4K clubs, while in secondary schools, we work with the young farmers clubs. So what the program has done is to train all the secondary school teachers in the schools that we are working in order for those teachers to go back and establish high iron bean school gardens. These school gardens are not only for the school community, but often school localities are within areas where the community accesses. And so we are also finding that these school gardens are becoming training grounds for the parents, as well as the environment around the school. In addition to the parents also having to stop by the garden whenever there are events within the school. And most importantly, one thing that is emerging is that the teachers that have been trained by the few agriculture extension staff now are also becoming very instrumental as the extension agents for the project. And so we can see, in addition to the extension agents that are available within the agriculture department, now we are having additional human resource within the teacher fraternity. We are excited about what we are seeing around the school gardens because we are having learners participate in the production of this crop. And so they also take skills with them. Remember, these are the farmers of the future. And so we are very excited that they are getting their hands dirty, getting involved in the farm all the way to harvesting and packaging of this grain for the school use. So that is also happening. And when they go home, one of the things that we are excited to see is that there's a discussion around high iron being between parents and these learners. And now the word continues to go around. Complementary to the word coming from the students is our intentional involvement with the parents during the various forums that we are creating at the village level. And most important is one of our intervention is the cooking demos, because farmers want to touch, farmers want to taste before they can actually switch from their very old varieties of beans. And so we are using the cooking demos as a part of that avenue to get them to taste it, like it, and so adopt it. And so I just want to highlight four properties, in addition to a good taste, that the bean is also bringing along and getting traction with the farmers. One, it is a fast maturing, just about 2 months, and it is ready. In addition to that, we are having low flatulence. Most of consumers tend to shy away from beans because of what we refer often as gas or flatulence, which disturbs the stomach. So the bean varieties that we are promoting are low in flatulence. And most importantly, they are fast cooking. This is an excitement to the women, especially as well as to the schools, that they are able to save on fuel. And overall, that is also very important for us in terms of environmental conservation, given that a lot of schools, as well as our rural households, are still using firewood and therefore felling trees. So fast cooking bean also helps in climate adaptation and environmental conservation. And finally, I just want to share that this is one bean that has a very good taste, and farmers are applauding these varieties for that. So overall, I think seamlessly we are integrating the full system to ensure that once the projects exit a given locality, the structures are in place for continuity of integration of high iron beans in school meals. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much, Penina. It's very exciting to know what is happening and definitely very insightful. Yeah. So I appreciate you for sharing these very valuable insights. It's inspiring to know how much is being done to support our children's health and education through the school meals program.
Yeah.
Now, for our listeners and viewers, remember to get involved, whether it's through advocacy, volunteering, or simply staying tuned. Until next time, stay healthy and stay engaged. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Faith. Bye-bye.